Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coon. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
Right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen ELON show. I'm your host, Queen ELON, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so we're back in the virtual building. We are back, beloveds, and when I tell you, the nefariousness just won't wait. Okay, so if you missed the first broadcast of the day, please go back and watch that at your leisure. Okay, hello, Mr. Elevation. Byron is in the building. Lillian X, DJ Big Six, Vince I Am, all the way from the UK. Muad'Dib, I hope I said that right. Timothy, Deronda, Queen Amoni Huey. All right, Ray Williams, where have you been? Queen Shay is here. Leon, Hot Cocoa. All right, the gang's all here. All right. Hey, Chris B. All right, so listen, I love me some Loyal Royals. All right, shout out to you and shout out to my moderators for putting in work. I see you, Gigi. Okay, so with that all being said, Sheila, let's get into it, honey. I'm about to have my play my sponsor's ad, and then we're going to get into it. Hey, we the people. LL is here. All right, Deronda, I see you. Okay, Jay Meadows is in the virtual building. All right, Deronda. Shout out to everybody. Lady Patriot, I got you. Okay, so here we go. Measure Man is in the virtual building. All right, let's get it started. Anybody I missed, y'all know I love y'all. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. And you can also find it at walmart.com. Okay, so let's get into it, honey. They are doing the most. And by they, I mean the Trump administration. Okay, so first off, let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I thought this was very interesting. Okay, Tulsi Gabbard has been exposed and accused of burying a whistleblower's complaint against her. Now, they say this woman took this whistleblower's complaint. Now, I'm not sure what they were complaining about as it pertains to her because I haven't gotten into all of that. I was just collecting these receipts real quick. But here's the thing. She basically got a complaint from a whistleblower, and then they say she took it and put it in a vault and locked it. Trying to hide the evidence of wrongdoing. Are y'all listening? They are doing the absolute most. This is nothing but corruption. They will go down in the realms of history of having been the most nefarious, corrupt administration ever in the United States. And I want you all to pay attention because Trump thought this is going away, but it isn't. Now you have other world leaders talking about doing investigations into their own politicians because this thing stretches so far and wide. Okay, you have prime ministers. Okay, all sorts of dignitaries and all of that. It's a darn shame. Okay, and like I said, YouTube owes me an apology as far as I'm concerned. Hey, they shadow banned me for saying all of this stuff that we're talking about right here today. I want y'all to pay attention. There's a video, in fact, of a man who says that those of us who were talking about this years ago, he said they either kicked you off YouTube or shadow banned you. Well, they did both to me. I got kicked off and shadow banned. Y'all remember it? It's all so tragic. But now here we are, the same old song. Now back then, it was about Hillary's nefarious emails. Okay, and that story that they called a conspiracy theory. Okay, about pizza. But now here we are. And this story is just as nefarious, if not more so. Okay, matter of fact, it is more so because it likely involves a much larger array of people. And not to mention, Hillary's emails, well, they seem to be tied to this, in my opinion. But let me not get into all of that. I'm going on a whole tangent. We're going to get into that because, in fact, I did find my stash of Hillary's emails that I've had all this time. And I also found John Podesta's emails, who will go through his today. Hillary's, I'm going to wait because I don't feel like going through all of that. I have so many of them. But John Podesta's, the way I saved his, I had them all together compiled. So we'll go through his, okay? Because they're just as nefarious. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Ms. Gabbard. Let's talk about Ms. Gabbard because U.S. intelligence, okay, a U.S. intelligence official has alleged wrongdoing by National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard in a whistleblower complaint filed last year, according to the official's lawyer and Gabbard's office. Now, Andrew Bakaj, the attorney for the intelligence official, said Monday that the complaint was filed with the intelligence community's inspector general in May, and that by June, the whistleblower asked that it be shared with lawmakers. He accused Gabbard of trying to hide the complaints from Congress. Now, after nearly 8 months of taking illegal actions to protect herself, the time has finally come for Tulsi Gabbard to comply with the law and fully release the disclosure to Congress. This is what Bakaj said in a statement released by Whistleblower Aid, a nonprofit group that represents government and private sector employees seeking to expose wrongdoing. Now, the Inspector General's independence and neutrality is non-existent when the Director of National Intelligence illegally inserts herself into the process. And let's not forget how she was up here in Georgia when the FBI raided that elections office and she wasn't supposed to be there. Who does she think she is? Now, the Wall Street Journal first reported the whistleblower complaint. Okay, the Journal reported that Gabbard's office did not or had not shared the complaint because it was trying to work out security guidance to safeguard the information in it. Oh, okay. Oh, so that's why they didn't tell anybody about it or didn't even let Congress know it was a thing because they were trying to make sure it was all safe. Okay, they had to get security guidance and clearance to make sure they could safeguard the information. Please pay attention. Okay, the lies. Now, administration officials and the whistleblower's lawyer have not divulged the complaint's substance because the whistleblower's attorney told NBC News that he has not seen it. Now, the National Intelligence Director's office did not respond to a request for comment. Well, I bet they did. Now, Gabbard's press secretary, Olivia Coleman, acknowledged on social media that a whistleblower complaint had been filed, but rejected the accusation that Gabbard had tried to stonewall Congress. Coleman said Gabbard had shared the complaint, which she called baseless, with intelligence committees in Congress, saying there was absolutely no wrongdoing by DNI Gabbard. Okay, this is what she wrote on X. She also said a previous Inspector General concluded that the whistleblower's allegations did not appear credible. Now, Coleman alleged that the whistleblower was a politically motivated individual. Well, isn't that something? The nerve of anyone to say the whistleblower was politically motivated when they worked for Trump. I find that interesting. Director Gabbard has always and will continue to support whistleblowers and their right under the law to submit complaints to Congress, even if they are completely baseless, like this. Well, if it's so baseless, why'd she hide in the vaults for 8 whole months? Okay, and didn't tell anyone about it. That's what I'd like to know, first off. Okay, first off. And then they said that she told a couple of people in Congress, probably some nefarious Republicans, and they all got together in a huddle and said, you know what? Go ahead and stash it. You can't throw it away or get rid of it because, you know, that might get found out because they probably have proof that they gave it to you, but at least go and put it in a vault and hide it so no one knows it even exists. And just stonewall them for the next year. They'll forget about it. But no, they didn't. Okay, these people are so ridiculous. So ridiculous. But let's continue. Now, Stephen Miller. We're going to talk about him in a minute. We're going to talk about him. Let's go to some of this stuff about ICE. Okay, let's go to some of the stuff about ICE because ICE is really out of control. Okay, there's a video about them attempting to murder someone, and what the person was saying. I think this person works at the hospital where the person was brought in. I didn't get to see the whole video because I saw it right as I was starting to live. I know I tell y'all that a lot, but really I do. That's why I'm always late, because I'm still trying to collect receipts. Okay, but so we're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about this child that was found dead in an ICE facility. And it was such a sad story. And I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. What did I tell you all about ICE a few days ago? Didn't I, in fact, tell you all that ICE isn't human? Didn't I tell you they're not human? They're not. And they have that nefarious energy that they've contracted from Trump because energy is contagious. Okay, this man also says they're not human. And if you're not human, then what are you? Demons. Okay, that's what these people are. That's why it's no problem for them to be so brutal and vicious and hateful and wicked. Okay, and to not have any empathy and sympathy because they're demonic. Okay, they are demonic. That is what they are. Please pay attention. Now, here we go.
What you mean a child was found dead in an ICE detention facility, right? And when they did an autopsy, they found not only was this child malnourished, but they found rat parts in his stomach. So either he was surviving on rats or they were feeding him rats. ICE agents are not human. Because what you mean...
Now, were they feeding that child rats? That is so sad and clearly disgusting. Okay, clearly disgusting. Now, hold on. Let's talk about this because this guy has an ICE hotline. Now, you know, the thing about white folk is they will absolutely set traps for people. They're good at entrapping people. I want y'all to think about it. They're really good at this. Remember how they had the guy, Shirley, that guy that was going around saying the Somalians were doing all the fraud and he was going from one place to another, getting footage and all of that. I mean, he really was invested, right? It's amazing. So then let's not forget the other lady who took it upon herself to call those churches to pretend that she had a starving infant, only needed 1 can of infant milk, and nobody wanted to help her. I was so glad she exposed them. But now we have another Caucasian male doing his due diligence, and he's exposing the Karens. So let's get into it. Okay, please pay attention. Now, sometimes the exposure comes out for good reasons. All right. I want y'all to hear this. He started his own ICE hotline, and people think it's real. So they call in trying to turn people in, no less.
my own hotline for reporting illegal immigrants, and people call it thinking that it's legitimate. I talked to a kindergarten teacher that wants to deport the parents of a kindergartner at her school. And it looks like they have a child who was born in New York, which makes them an American citizen.
Yeah.
So we're looking to deport the parents and leave the child.
Right. Like I said, I don't know if they're here illegally. I just think it's odd, you know, it's very odd.
What did you say was odd?
It's just odd for them to even be here. Like, I'm a teacher at a school. Okay. I know schools. I know the whole law about schools. I mean, they seem like nice people or whatever, but I looked them up in our files and I was like, oh, she was born in Honduras and he's born in El Salvador. So right there, it's like, okay, maybe I'm on the right path. You know, they drop off their kid every day.
So their kid is their kid a student at your school?
Yes. Yes.
One of your
kindergarten.
Okay, so now you want to get his parents deported?
Well, I'm just saying that if they're taking up resources from our county,
Okay.
I'm not into illegal people being here.
I mean, if the son's in kindergarten, what is 6 or 7,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he's probably like 5 or 6.
And they was born in New York, so that means assumingly they've been in America for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go ahead and just remove them.
Are you like questioning that or what do you know?
Yeah. Sorry, no, I'm just writing this down for my own
Okay.
personal notes, and my supervisor
Okay.
teaches at school wants kindergarten child's parents
You
deported.
make it sound terrible. You make it sound like it's terrible, but
Oh, well, I'm just writing down what you're
Yeah.
telling me.
okay. Well, yeah, okay.
Sounds terrible. Let's see, I can write that down too, I guess. And that's Hispanic
Mhm.
in an area where you wouldn't normally see Hispanics. Okay.
Right. Like people that are born in another country.
Yeah. Because you normally see those people where?
Like in the cities.
Got it. Okay. Hispanics out of place now in country, not where they belong in city. So we were able to confirm that they are documented citizens along with their child.
Oh, good.
So yeah, it's good because we don't have to deport a 6-year-old. And yeah, I mean, you know, that little fella could have been a threat to our national security.
Why are you talking to me like this?
Say again?
Why do you talk to me like this?
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
Like you're like sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just thought that maybe you'd be okay and just happy that the people that you reported were actually here legally and that they belong, just like you and me.
Did I talk to your supervisor? You said you are the supervisor.
Yeah, I just thought you were going to be happy.
Yeah, I am happy, but I'm not happy with your attitude. You just said to me, the 6-year-old won't be a threat to national security.
Yeah.
That's sarcastic.
I would think that the people that were deporting, especially 6-year-olds, that there would be a good reason for it.
I was talking about the people who I thought they're illegal because they were born in a different country. I can't help that they have a 6-year-old. That's on them.
You know what we'll do? I'll get in touch with the supervisor. I send him a text. When he gets back to me, I'll see if he can follow up with you. And
And what is his name?
His name is Brian. But yeah, thought you'd be happy to know that they're documented. But we'll have the.
I am happy. I'm super happy. Super happy. I'm glad. You know, that's wonderful.
Well, it's good. You know, the 6-year-old can stay in the school, and you know, I know it's tough looking at him. And but yeah, we'll get on my supervisor. Just he can give you a call back in a little bit. My understudy here said you were having some issues with him about some out of place Hispanics.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
You sound exactly like Greg. Okay. I just didn't like his attitude.
I really do apologize for that. Looks like Brian said we did confirm the document status of these individuals, and we're happy we were able to do that for you despite the sarcasm and the things that you're complaining about.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that they're fine folks and belong here and all that good stuff. But he was like criticizing me because there was a 6-year-old boy involved. You know what I mean? But he's like acting like I'm this terrible person because I'm going to deport a 6-year-old. And in fact, he goes today, because a 6-year-old would be a threat to national security.
I have my own hotline for report.
She is a terrible person. How does she think she isn't? And that's what's so amazing to me. These people think That they're just good citizens and good Christians? Is that what they really believe in their demented little minds? Oh, I absolutely cannot. Okay, I absolutely cannot. Now let's continue, beloveds. Let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. A like and share. Call and trying to get the child's parents. And this is the thing. This is how you know she doesn't give a darn about that poor little 5 or 6-year-old in her class. Because you're trying to get rid of the parents. Who's going to keep him? What's he supposed to do with no parents? Low down, dirty skank. Let's continue. It's a darn shame. Here we go.
Keith Porter! Keith Porter! Keith Porter Jr. was a 43-year-old Black father of 2 girls. On New Year's Eve, he was celebrating at his own home, and like thousands around the country, we understand that he may have stepped outside of his home and fired a celebratory shot in the air, which many, many people do and which is widely acknowledged by city officials. His apartment complex is fairly large, and an ICE agent lived in that complex who went inside, put on his tactical gear, came back outside, and shot Keith Porter dead in front of his own home. The family has been told nothing. There's not been a word uttered by the mayor of the city. Almost no elected official here has said anything. We know that we've been demanding the name of the ICE agent who killed Keith Porter. We've gotten nothing. We've demanded an arrest. An arrest has not been made. We've made demands of the district attorney that charges be filed. He basically said he doesn't intend to do anything. And so the community is going to have to mobilize.
Took our loved one from us. You murdered our loved one, and it's not fair.
I don't blame anybody. I'm not negative. Like, I have a wonderful spirit. You know what I'm saying? I love hard. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep on doing it because that's just the way of life. I love God. I am a very godly person. And that's how I'm going to continue to live my life. I got 2 beautiful young little girls out here, and I'm going to raise them the way that I'm supposed to. You know what I'm saying? I pray. I talk to my brothers. You know what I'm saying? Talk to God, family. Because at the end of the day, that's all I really got. But I feel rich though, you know? I wake up every morning and I try to put on the best of fabrics that I got every single day. No matter if I got $1 in my pocket, no matter if I got $10 million in my pocket. You would never know. Because I'm not broken yet. And it's going to be hard to break me. Because I have a strong spirit and I grew up with a whole lot of love. I know it's a whole lot of people that love me out here. You know what I mean?
Keith Porter!
May Keith Porter rest in peace. Condolences again to his family, friends, and loved ones. Now, here is another story. This is a Chinese immigrant who was found dead in his cell at the ICE detention center. Okay, please pay attention.
Was found dead inside ICE detention, hogtied with his hands and feet bound behind him, according to allegations from his family's attorney. Ge, who was 32, died just 4 days after entering ICE custody in Pennsylvania on August 5th. ICE's official report said officers found him in a shower stall with a cloth ligature around his neck. But an autopsy obtained by Newsweek showed Ge was tied with a bedsheet with linens binding his wrists and ankles in what the medical examiner described as a hogtied position. The report noted no obvious defensive wounds and cited rare cases where people who died by suicide staged similar positions. His brother said in a statement that the family is devastated and wants justice, answers, and accountability. Deaths inside ICE facilities have risen under the Trump administration, already the most deadly year in decades, despite DHS insisting conditions are safe and humane. But here's what we know about Ge's timeline. He first arrived at the U.S.-Mexico border in 2023 and was released with a notice to appear. More than a year later, ICE encountered him in Pennsylvania, where he was charged with conspiracy, computer misuse, and theft by deception offenses. After being convicted of 2 counts on July 31st, this year, 2025, and with credit for time served, he was released from local custody and ICE immediately took him in. ICE's intake report says Good denied any prior medical or mental health issues, but just days later at around 5:20 a.m., officers say that they found him in the shower, attempted CPR, and pronounced him dead roughly 40 minutes later. Good's family is not accepting ICE's explanation. Their attorney, David Rankin, filed a lawsuit claiming that they failed to provide necessary care and ignored repeated requests for information. Rankin said, quote, "It is truly mystifying how any detention facility can let someone leave their room, create 3 nooses, and then hang themselves without anyone knowing," end quote. Newsweek asked DHS whether Guh had been tied up and whether the agency was cooperating with the lawsuit, and DHS did not answer those questions. Instead, Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin repeated a standard line that all in-custody deaths are tragic, and ICE takes its commitment to safe, secure, humane environments very seriously. The family's lawsuit now seeks a court order forcing ICE and DHS to release records about Guh's death and the conditions inside the facility. What those records reveal could shape the growing national debate over detention conditions as the number of people held in ICE custody continues to climb.
Honey, it's no telling what kind of deplorable, inhumane, nefarious conditions these people are being made to stay in. I think it's absolutely egregious. Okay, now here is someone talking about how Border Patrol and ICE are basically told to go to the black folk.
Stop that black guy. These type of things need to be exposed.
Racism is a huge problem among U.S. border officials and agencies. That's according to 2 whistleblowers within Customs and Border Protection, which, along with ICE, is part of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. I talked to them in 2021 about a lawsuit they filed against the agency regarding their experience working at the U.S.-Canada border.
The specific thing that we're raising in this lawsuit is the extra scrutiny that's being given to brown people, African Americans.
And you participated in that. How did that make you feel?
It's demoralizing anytime that, you're asked to do something that you don't believe in.
Johnny told me in one particularly traumatizing incident, he was ordered to stop a black family driving back into the U.S. Amid the tension, Johnny ended up pointing his gun at the driver, whose children were in the back seat crying. No one was ultimately arrested.
I have children. As a father, you don't want to put your children through something like that. After that happened, I questioned why the family was pulled over, and I was refused an answer. We were told that it was a good look.
Johnny told me that after he complained to his supervisors at Customs and Border Protection, he was placed on desk duty.
So you feel like you were retaliated against?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jermaine Broderick also sued the agency.
As a CBP officer, how often did you see this type of racial profiling against non-white travelers occur here?
Frequently, very frequently. It happens too often.
I can't imagine it's an easy decision to become a whistleblower and file a lawsuit against your employer, the federal government.
It wasn't that hard. It was actually the right thing to do, and that's the reason why I did it.
Jermaine and Johnny's case was ultimately settled in 2023.
I've been specifically told, stop that black guy. These type of things need to be exposed.
Racism is...
Okay, now ICE has been accused of attempted murder. Okay, this man is saying they brought in this guy with broken ribs and, no, I'm sorry, not broken ribs. They said he had I think 6 to 8 brain fractures and bleeding on the brain. This is absolutely egregious. How are they just going to get away with this stuff?
ICE just brought in a Mexican immigrant in Minneapolis to the hospital by the name of Castaneda Mondragon, and he has 8 fractures in his skull and multiple hemorrhages in his brain. He arrived on death's door, and nurses and doctors asked ICE what happened to him, and ICE said that while he was handcuffed, he ran head first into the wall. And that's how his injuries happened. The nurses and doctors said it was laughable. That's a quote. That's how the injuries occurred. Now they understand that that's not funny. They're not laughing because of how funny it is. They're laughing at the excuse that the ICE agents created in order to cover up the fact that they attempted to murder a man for being an immigrant in this country. We have ICE, masked Gestapo attempting to murder people in this country for civil offenses. And yeah, if you support that, like that's, you know, what the hell's wrong with you? He deserves to die. A Mexican immigrant deserves to die in this country because he's trying to make a better life for himself. He broke one fucking law, and now masked men get to decide that he dies in this country. I just brought in a
Okay, that's absolutely egregious. Okay, but these are the things they're doing. Okay, these are the things they're doing, beloveds. This is all getting out of hand. And at the end of the day, did I tell you all once in the chat? If I told you all yesterday, I don't think I remember to tell you all that ICE is now complaining because they have not been getting paid. Some of them have not been getting paid. Did I discuss that with you all yesterday? Once in the chat. Once in the chat. Did I tell you all that yesterday? Because I have the receipts here, but you know, I don't remember if I told you all that. I have so many receipts. Cyrus said I did. Okay, I told you all that. Yeah, and that's good for their dumb asses because they were sitting there thinking they're going to make all this money. Okay, and now they're not even getting what they thought they were going to get. And let's not forget about the insurance that they were promised, and also it was supposed to include their families. Please, okay. Find it all so interesting. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Stephen Miller with his stupid self. I'm going to share this on the screen. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Stephen Miller is a wanton supremacist. Okay? He wants to be supreme and superior, but he's nothing of the sort in his wildest dreams. Okay, now this came out today. Despite real-world dangers, political blowback, and his growing unpopularity, President Stephen Miller expanding influence. And I want you to pay attention to the fact that they called him president, because that's what he is. This is him running this country. He's the de facto president. Okay, I did a video about it months ago telling you all how he's running ish. Trump's just a puppet with his stupid self. Okay, as long as Stephen Miller is driving immigration policy from the White House with the blessing of President Trump, any notion that the administration will rein in their anti-immigrant agenda or chart a different course following the killing of Alex Preddy and Renee Good and broader backlash is mistaken. Despite new polling showing Miller's unpopularity and growing concerns about his mass deportation crusade is harming Republicans' political chances, well, Miller appears to be expanding his influence. Miller is, in fact, doubling down on the federal anti-immigrant, anti-constitution crusade that threatens all Americans' rights and safety, while also helping to steer disturbing state policymaking in states like Tennessee. Now, de facto President Stephen Miller is running America and Donald Trump's political support into the ground. Functionally a prime minister, if not an unelected president, with a sphere of influence that is as expansive as it is dangerous. Miller continues his relentless assault on America and Americans. As new reporting makes clear, despite public outcry, political blowback, and real-world harm to citizens and non-citizens alike, Miller is proceeding full speed ahead in his anti-immigrant crusade and broader attack on Americans' rights. Okay, this is exactly what he's doing. Low down, dirty devil. Now, as the Guardian notes, in Tennessee, Tennessee to test Stephen Miller's plan for enlisting states for immigration enforcement. Okay, this is a bright idea he's come up with as of late. The power to enforce immigration law rests with the federal government, but Trump advisor Stephen Miller has a vision for states working in coordination with federal immigration officials, and he's attempting to test it out in Tennessee. Weeks after meeting with Miller, Tennessee Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, announced a suite of 8 bills that would turn state and local police officers, judges, teachers, social workers, and others into an auxiliary extension of the federal immigration system. Do you all hear this? It makes the now teachers, I want you to pay attention, because when you start talking like this and you start saying stuff like this and social workers and all of that, now this is all very dangerous for immigrants, because they'll just start having the teachers report the students and the parents, just like that lady was doing to that fake hotline. Okay? That's exactly what they'll do. And I guess judges will be tasked with having defendants who come before their courts. Okay? So with that all being said, and I'm not talking about immigration court, I'm talking about like regular court for traffic tickets, or if you commit a crime or whatever. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say it makes the presence of an undocumented person with a final deportation order a state crime in Tennessee, and it mandates that officials report the presence of undocumented persons to ICE. So if they don't report it, they might get in trouble. Is that where this is going? While criminalizing disclosure of information about immigration enforcement activities to the public. Now, Republican worries about Miller's approach hurting the GOP politically. Well, they say the Wall Street Journal editorial board examined the upset Texas State Senate win by Democrats in a heavily Trump district and noted that Stephen Miller's mass deportation strategy is backfiring at the polls. Similarly, Alina Garcia, a Florida state senator and former Trump campaign hand, stated, I do think that he will lose the midterms because of Stephen Miller. Now, polling shows Miller's growing unpopularity. New Navigator polling finds Americans want to see Miller fired, okay, especially when details about his influence and his defense of the shooting of Alex Preddy are concluded. Now, when asked, do you support or oppose firing White House Homeland Security and Immigration Advisor Stephen Miller, a plurality of 42% of Americans support his firing versus 29% who oppose and 29% who aren't sure. When more details about Miller are included, the support of his firing jumps significantly. When asked, do you support or oppose firing White House Homeland Security and Immigration Advisor Stephen Miller, who is the architect of Trump's ICE policies, has defended the ICE killings in Minneapolis and called the victims assassins and domestic terrorists? 52% of his firing, 52% support his firing, 32% oppose, and 16% aren't sure. Okay, please pay attention. Now, of note, when given fuller details of Miller, Republican respondents are split evenly between 40% who support his firing and 40% who oppose. Okay? Y'all hear that? Now, with that all being said, let me tell you all something that you're going to really be shocked about. Cyrus, thank you, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, now here's the thing. I have some news for you all. And this right here, remember I told you all days ago, once in the chat, if you remember. Remember I told you all that I thought Trump and Elon were the Antichrist? Y'all remember that? I told y'all that a myriad of times, but I told y'all that again just yesterday. Just yesterday, I told you all that. Well, they're clearly not human as far as I'm concerned. I just don't believe it, and nobody's going to make me believe it. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about something very interesting. So there was a book. Let me just see something real quick. Hold on. There was a book written about Baron Trump. And this book was written, beloveds, it was written in 1893. Now, there were actually 2 books written. One of them was titled Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, written in or published in 1893. The other one is called Little Baron Trump and His Wonderful Dog Bulger. That was written in 1889. Okay, hold on. Hold on just a second, beloveds. I'm about to pull up the receipts. Okay. Now we're going to get into this because I find this all very interesting, you see. Okay, I find this all very interesting. I want y'all to listen because I fell into a rabbit hole last night. You see, here's the thing. Sometimes I wake up at like 3 a.m. in the morning. Now, it used to really concern me when this would happen because sometimes when I would wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, I would see like paranormal things happening, like paranormal activity, you know, spirits and things like that. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But nonetheless, but then what I also started realizing is that sometimes when I wake up at 3 a.m., because you know they call it the witching hour, okay, when there's nefarious activity going on. But I started noticing that sometimes when I wake up at 3 a.m., the Most High is waking me up to give me a download. Okay. And that's even in the Bible. It talks about being waken up by the Most High at 3 o'clock. So when I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning, I found something very interesting. You see, I stumbled upon it. And here's how I know it came from the Most High, because I was not even looking for this. But so this started putting pieces of the puzzle together. When I was telling you all that Trump and Elon are the Antichrist, they have that energy. The Antichrist, for those of you who missed it, go check out that broadcast, because I explained that it's not a person, it's an energy, it's a sort of power, and it can be transferred from one person to another, even from one thing to another, which is what they're down there trying to do at Project CERN, in my opinion. But with that all being said, and don't forget that I reported to you about 2 or 3 years ago when they were messing around at Project CERN, how they said some ghostly looking creature, it was something like a black mass, appeared in the collider, okay, in the collider. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let me put this up on the screen. Let me put this up on the screen. Hold on. Y'all see that? Barron Trump's marvelous underground journey. Now, as I said, this is a book. There were several books, in fact, written in the 1800s. Okay, so now let me just tell you what this book is about. So, the story begins with Baron Trump feeling restless and eager for an adventure after finding an old manuscript by a learned scholar named Don Foon. Describes a hidden world beneath the surface of the earth. Baron decides to embark on a journey to discover its entrance with Bulger by his side. Okay, he travels north through Russia toward the Arctic, overcoming hardships and strange landscapes on the way to finding the portal to the underground realm. I want y'all to pay attention, okay? So he's looking for an underground world. Sounds nefarious, but let's continue. Now, goes on to say, once Barrett and Bulger, that's his dog, enter the hidden world, their adventure unfolds in a succession of fantastical environments and societies. They encounter lost civilizations, each with unique customs, cultures, and challenges. Barrett meets the transparent folk. Transparent folk, who are they? Beings whose bodies are partly clear. Sounds like ghosts or spirits. Learning about their unusual way of life. In other regions, he explores places like Google Land. Google, Goggle, Google. How was this a thing in the 1800s? Are y'all listening? Because I'm not making this up. Okay? I'm not making this up. But let's continue. So, Google Land, where people communicate in extraordinary ways. Don't y'all find it all nefarious? Now, throughout the journey, Barrett engages with mysterious rulers, strange creatures, and forgotten races, all beneath the Earth's surface. These encounters test his courage, intellect, and diplomacy. Along the way, he also learns about the hidden history and workings of this underground world within a world. Sounds like tunnels. Okay, now the novel is a blend of fantasy, speculative adventure, and moral curiosity, typical of children's literature of the late 1800s. It emphasizes exploration of the unknown, cultural curiosity and understanding, imaginative, surreal environments that belong or that challenge Barron's assumptions. Okay, what do y'all think about that? I find this all so interesting. But hold on, there's more. So now let's go to this other book that was written. And this one is called The Travel and Adventures of the Little Baron Trump. Now, these books were written by an author by the name of Ingersoll Lockwood. Okay, just so you know. So, The Adventures of Baron Trump refers to a set of 19th century children's fantasy novels written by American author Ingersoll Lockwood. Okay, these books were originally published in the 1800s and told the fantastical stories of a young aristocrat, Baron Trump, on his adventures through strange lands and hidden realms. They remained obscure until renewed interest in the late 2010s. Baron Trump, a precocious, wealthy German a German boy whose full name is Wilhelm Heinrich Sebastian von Tromp. He's curious, clever, and always eager to explore unusual places. Now, Baron Trump leaves his privileged life at Castle Trump to explore the world and beyond. He encounters underground civilians, okay, and wondrous landscapes. Okay, we're going to skip past that and go to this next one. We're going to go to this next one, and this one is really going to get you. You're going to love it. You're going to love it, I promise you. This one is called The Last Presidents. Okay? The Last President. Let's get into it. Here we go. Hold on, beloveds. Now, this book was published. This was written and published in 1896 by American author Ingersoll Lockwood, the same author. Okay, now let's talk about this, because this is where it gets real juicy. Please buckle your seatbelts. Now, here's what it says. The Last President is a short political dystopian novel that imagines the aftermath of a shocking presidential election in the United States. Rather than focusing on the president himself, the story centers on the social chaos, the unrest, and the institutional collapse that follow the election of an outside candidate. Trump was an outside candidate. He was never into politics before he ran for president. And I want you all to pay attention, because at the end of the day, this is what's going on right now. Okay? This is what's going on right now. So please pay attention. Now, goes on to say the novel opens on election night with a political outsider unexpectedly winning the presidency. That's Trump. The result triggers mass protests, riots, and violence. Well, here it all is, folks. We're right in the middle of it, especially among elites and financial interests who fear the new president will upend the existing order. Well, he's definitely upending the existing order. Only difference is the elites aren't really the ones concerned about it, okay? It says their financial interest is what they're concerned about. Well, maybe that'll come down the line. Anywho, goes on to say, they say much of the action takes place in New York City, where mobs gather, the economy wobbles, and public order breaks down. The president-elect is portrayed as a mysterious populist figure with little support from established political institutions. The narrative follows observers inside the political and social elite as they react with panic, anger, and disbelief. The book ends on a dark, unresolved note, implying that the American public may not survive the turmoil unleashed by his presidency. So the book ends on a cliffhanger, but basically it's summed up as if it's not going to end well. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. It ends on a dark, unresolved note. Now, some of the themes within this book are populism versus elites. Basically the fear of mass movements overturning entrenched power. Okay, that would mean the people rising up to continue to fight for their rights and freedoms. Political instability, how fragile democratic institutions can be during moments of crisis. Class anxiety. Well, that's all about the deep distrust between the working class and the wealthy. Okay, financial or political elites, no less. And then you have media and mob psychology. That's how rumors and hysteria, conspiracy theories, public emotion, public opinion, and all of these things. Okay, that's what all that's about. So I find this interesting. Basically, to sum it up, The Last President is a bleak political allegory about what happens when a deeply divided nation elects a disruptive outsider, sparking unrest, elite backlash, and fears that the democratic system itself may fail. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention to this, please. Hold on, beloveds. Pulling up more receipts. So what do y'all think about this? Had you all ever heard of this? Had you all ever heard of this? I find it all so interesting. And I want you to pay attention. For those of you who follow the spiritual channel, this is the thing. Lewis said, Queen, did you research this yourself? Yes, I did. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning. Okay. And like I said, this man's name, Ingersoll Lockwood, came across my feed. And I'm like, who is this? So I started looking into it. Okay, but so anyway, here's the thing. I don't want to get off track. But let me say this, beloveds. Here's the thing. If you notice, it specifically said that the story of the last president is an allegory. That's important. Because those of you who follow the spiritual channel, you know that I talk to you about allegories all the time. There are a myriad of allegories in the Bible. Okay, allegories, for those of you who don't know, are hidden messages within stories. So in that book, The Last President, there was absolutely allegories. Okay, now, so let's talk about these books and some of the things that they absolutely, show us. Okay, so the outsider energy. Remember how I told you, I'll keep telling you all the energies, contagious and all of that. The story with Baron Trump, that basically is about established power. Okay, established power. You see, little Baron Trump is wealthy, but outside of established power. He ignores the norms, wanders off into foreign systems, and then disrupts them, sometimes accidentally. Doesn't that sound like Trump? Doesn't that sound like him? He ignores the norms. He wanders off into foreign systems and disrupts them because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Okay? And sometimes he does it accidentally, just like he accidentally tells on himself when he's lying. Modern politics is also obsessed with the outsider candidate, which is Trump. Someone framed as an independent person of institutions and experts or tradition. Campaigns sell disruption as virtue. You see, that's why Trump got put in the White House the first time. The second time, that's just crazy. I still haven't figured that out yet. I guess it's because, people didn't take Kamala seriously. I guess. I was one of the people that went in on Kamala. Wish I hadn't done it now, but hey, too late, right? Here we are. But the bottom line is a lot of the MAGA people voted for Trump, at least in the first election, in my opinion, because he was an outsider. He wasn't somebody who was well-versed in politics, and they thought, or they viewed him as one of them, one of the common people. Okay? One of the common people is what they thought, I'm sure. So, anywho, I'm not going to do a whole breakdown of this, but what I will say is it has political rhetoric frames with the nation being divided, the stuff that's going on right now, that's all in the book. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. And then in the book about Barron, it says Barron leaves Castle Trump. He strays away from his elite comfort and then enters bizarre societies with odd rules and leaders. With odd rules and leaders. You know what this sounds like to me? And I'm just going to tell you, this is just my opinion. But it sounds like to me, when they're talking about this book, this little boy, going underground, looking for different realms of existence, and then seeing these people that are transparent, these are demons. This sounds like demons, people. This sounds like demons, okay? Y'all don't think so? Y'all don't think that sounds like demons that he's down there meeting? Very interesting. I'm going to have to order these books and read them in their entirety. But with that all being said, let's continue. Let's continue, because now I want to go to some videos that I have from my X account that I shared. I'm going to try to get off of here in the next 30 minutes or less. Okay, so I want to show you all some of these videos. First off, I want to talk about Bill Gates. Because did you all hear what Bill Gates used as his excuse for why he was mentioned in the Epstein files as having been someone who wanted to basically inject his wife with a medication without her knowing it, because he thought, or he knew, that he had STDs or whatnot. So he gave a very asinine excuse, but of course I was not shocked at all. Hold on. Let me get to it. Find it also interesting. Okay, here we go. Here we go with his lying self. Okay, like up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second, beloveds. Wait a second. I forgot to tell you all something. Hold on. I knew it was something I forgot. Hold on. Let me pull up my darn receipts. Hold on. Now, this is another book I meant to tell you all about. Now, this book is interesting too, because if you notice, in the title of today's broadcast, it says shocking information about Trump and Elon. Well, the information I'm talking about as it pertains to Trump and Elon are what's in these books. Okay, because this book, hold on. Did I pull it up? Okay, here we go. This book, Project Mars. Okay, so here's what it says. It talks about how Earth is portrayed as politically corrupt, unequal, and unstable. Mars represents technology, advanced, rational, and orderly society, and this, that, and the third. It talks about a man by the name of Elon. Okay? It talks about a man by the name of Elon, which I thought was interesting. Right? Hold on, we're gonna have to get back to that because I don't have my receipts pulled up because I literally forgot to tell you all about that. So we'll get back to it. But meanwhile, let's go to this Bill Gates information, because he's sitting up here telling these lies and he sounds so stupid. Okay, he sounds so ridiculous. These people can't even lie straight. Now, this is his excuse for the Epstein email.
Just reminds me, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. Was he trying to attack me in some way? But, it just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that. Apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is...
So we're supposed to think So we're supposed to think that this man wrote an email to himself about your STDs, sir. Okay, is he serious? Is he serious? Okay, I don't know why I stopped to share. Hold on, because the next video is also on here. I mean, please sit down somewhere at this point. Elon. I mean, not Elon, Bill Gates. It's your lying self. Okay, now, you all heard the audio yesterday. You all heard the audio yesterday with Peter Thiel, right? And Ehud Barak. Did I play that for you all? You all are going to have to remind me, listen, because I read so many of these things at home myself when I'm doing the research, and then I come on here to read a lot of this stuff to you. So sometimes I forget what I've read to you all or just read privately to myself. Okay? So did you all hear the audio yesterday? Once in the chat. Did I play the audio for you all? With Epstein trying to tell Peter, I think he was telling Peter Thiel how to get in touch. Hold on. No, he was telling Ehud Barak how to get in touch with Peter Thiel. Okay, so let me continue because I think I did read that or play that. Here's what a pageant survivor said about Donald J. Trump. Okay, but we're supposed to think that there's nothing bad in those files about him.
So tell us about that meeting. How did you meet Trump?
He came straight to me, and I was so shocked because I thought, oh my God, what's going on here? Everybody was watching. He came directly and he said, finally we meet, Miss Cool. And we were also laughing. You know, in those years, he was young, he was good looking, he was charming, and I felt honored.
So we do know that later you were invited to have a private meeting with him.
Someone from his entourage, he said, Mr. Trump would like to see you. He said, follow me. I followed. Like blind, you know. We went to the elevator. We went on the street floor, and in front of the room of the door, he said, "It's your turn." I just entered. I saw this beautiful suite. I was happy at this stage. And a few seconds later, before I even turned, jumped on me like a wild animal. All of a sudden, he was a predator. All of a sudden, there was no discussion anymore. It was violent. It was quick. It was intense. I was screaming. I was yelling. I was trying everything I could. I partially was able to defend myself, but not really. And it was bad. Yeah, it was really bad. I do not know what made him stop. Maybe because I was praying. I do not know. I will never know. And when he finally stopped it, this nightmare, first he threatened me. He clearly told me that I have to keep quiet. And he said that, you know, otherwise bad things can happen to me.
That's absolutely egregious, okay? He said bad things could happen to her. Wow. That is absolutely nefarious. Hold on, beloveds. We go to the next clip. Okay, here we go.
We have some big news right now. A Trump-appointed circuit court judge that some may even say he may be grooming for the Supreme Court one day was just caught in the Epstein files. And here's what you need to know about. I was searching through the Epstein files and I saw this name, Rebecca Tableson. Seems innocuous, right? Well, she's currently a judge on the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals appointed by Donald Trump last year. Now let's talk about why she's in the Epstein files. Her uncle, his name is Lawrence Krauss. Lawrence Krauss is a former professor at Arizona State University. He had to resign after allegations of sexual misconduct arose. This is the email chain between Rebecca Tableson and Lawrence Krauss. At the time, she was a government employee, assistant United States attorney. She was informing her uncle, essentially, how to respond to an inquiry from the dean of what appears to be Arizona State University. And guess where her uncle sent it to? Jeffrey Epstein. From my brilliant niece. No wonder she clerked for the Supreme Court. Want to know what justice she clerked for? Justice Scalia. Those are the files. Spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Let's continue.
These people, every single one of them, has to be held accountable for the crimes, for the terror, and for the murders that are happening to our own people in this country. We're taking action today because the stakes could not be higher. We mourn both of these two Americans today, and we find that these shootings cannot be justified. We also know they were part of a broader pattern of escalating unlawful violence by the Trump administration and DHS to intimidate dissent. Now, this administration then lied about the events and is now obstructing independent investigations to cover up misconduct and deny accountability to the victims and to the public. They've weaponized the Department of Justice to silence protesters, observers, and of course, journalists. But I also remind folks that Donald Trump won't be president forever. Kristi Noem won't be the secretary forever. And when you serve this country in an elected office or in uniform, you swear an oath to the Constitution. You pledge to work for all Americans. You don't get a license to kill, and there's no absolute immunity. We're going to stand up for the rights of our communities, and we believe strongly that we need to hear the stories of those that are in front of us today.
Y'all want to see a dead body?
Oh, there's a reason that the other side is giddy about having Nicki Minaj, a rapper they despise, a rapper they don't respect, a rapper most of them probably have never heard one of her songs, and if they have, they're horrified. The reason they want her on a leash as their house pet, cuddled at Donald Trump's feet, the reason she is the new house pet is because they need, N-E-E-E-D, Black people to give them cultural cool. Black cultural cool has always been a powerful, powerful element in the country. Candace Owens was brought into Turning Point USA to do that, to recruit rappers, to recruit Kanye West for a reason. Probably they like rap music, but they needed Candace to do that. Well, Candace has gone off the field. She's no longer playing ball. So since Candace isn't playing ball, they need a new Candace. So they tried Amber Rose, but Amber Rose is not popular enough with Black people and also says she isn't Black. So that didn't really work. So they moved on to their next gambit, which is to get the Trinidadian who doesn't care about the killing of Trinidadian fishermen, the rapper who hates the female rapper who hates other female rappers, who hates on women who are more popular than her, Cardi B, people who are better at cultural marketing than her. She'll never be Rihanna. She'll never have a brand like Rihanna. She'll never be Beyonce. She's a 40-something-year-old Black female rapper who clearly don't care that much about Black people or immigrants, even though she was an undocumented immigrant. She's the perfect foil to replace Candace. Nicki is the new canvas. They wouldn't want her if they didn't need cultural cool. Their problem is she ain't cultural cool no more. So the Barbs, Nicki ain't shit and she ain't saying nothing. And 100 little Barbs, you can't tell me nothing. Y'all mad about it? Be mad about it. But she not gonna work. But they're gonna keep looking for somebody Black to be the face, to put blackface on MAGA. And they know that cultural cool matters. That's why they're doing it. I'm done.
I'm going to add on to the list. Ice Cube, 50 Cent, Waka Flocka, ASAP Rocky, Kodak Black, Lil Wayne, Nelly, Snoop Dogg, Sexy Red. None of them could move the Black community towards MAGA and Donald Trump. Why? Because the Black community knows and sees Trump and MAGA for exactly who and what they are, and we want no parts. As a matter of fact, when Black Americans see our entertainers going over to the Trump administration and the MAGA side, we want nothing to do with that rapper. We want nothing to do with them. We will write them off. Good luck to that lady that's known as the pink wig lady.
Okay, absolutely. No lies detected. Now let's take a pause for a moment from that, because listen, I know I forgot a receipt, but I forgot a big portion of the story to tell you all. And I hate when I do that because I like for my things to be like organized. Okay. The whole thing about Trump and the books, all of that together, then all the ICE information together like that. But so anyway, here we are disorganized. So let's get into it because there is a book that was written, and this book doesn't have a character named Elon. It has the word Elon is mentioned. It's like a title or something, if I'm not mistaken. But it's called Project Mars. Okay, so let's talk about this. So Werner von Braun, who was a Yahtzee, okay, who was a Yahtzee from Germany, okay, he was a scientist, and he was actually the founder of NASA. I want y'all to pay attention. He was the founder of NASA. Now, he wrote this book titled Project Mars back in 1953, and it's about, this man who wants to take people to Mars. Okay. And like I said, I find that interesting because didn't Elon say something about taking people to Mars? Okay, let's get into it and let's go over a summary about it. Everyone, please like and share. So the book titled Project Mars, the full title is actually Project Mars, A Technical Tale. Okay, it was written by Werner von Braun, the German-American rocket scientist or physicist and spaceflight pioneer. Now, it was originally written in German in 1959 under the title Mars Project. Okay, they spell it as one word. Now, and published in English decades later in 2006 as Project Mars, A Technical Tale. The English version was translated by Henry J. White. So it's a detailed semi-fictional blueprint for humanity's first crewed mission to Mars, written in 1949. Now, it reads less like a novel and more like a visionary engineering proposal wrapped in a narrative frame. Okay, the book describes an ambitious international Mars expedition using technology von Braun that he believed was achievable with mid-20th century engineering. Now, a fleet of 10 large spacecraft assembled in Earth orbit carries about 70 astronauts to Mars. The ships use chemical rockets with careful attention to propulsion, fuel, orbital mechanics, and life support systems. Now, upon arrival, the crew lands using unwinged landing craft designed to glide through Mars's thin atmosphere. They establish a temporary base, conduct scientific exploration, map the planet, study its climate and its geology, and search for signs of life. Now, after completing their mission, the astronauts launch back into orbit and return safely to Earth. So I thought this was interesting, like I said, because they mentioned a title or a place named Elon in the book, actually. And this stuff sounds like what Elon is into with SpaceX and all of that. And then what I also thought was interesting was the fact that the person that wrote it was the founder of NASA. And here's what they say about the name Elon. Project Mars is considered one of the most influential early works of hard science space literature. It helped shape later thinking at NASA and inspired generations of scientists and engineers. Notably, it also contains a brief fictional reference to a Martian leader called Elon. Okay, please pay attention. Often mentioned today as a historical curiosity rather than a serious plot point. Okay, so I find that all interesting. But here's something else I think you'll find interesting. So you all know about Nikola Tesla, right? You all know about Nikola Tesla. That's where Elon gets the name of his vehicles from. Okay? Now, with that all being said, Nikola Tesla lived from 1856 to 1943. He was an inventor and electrical engineer famous for alternating currents. AC, okay? Wireless transmission and speculative ideas about energy and communication. So with that all being said, he actually died before von Braun wrote the book Project Mars, okay? Because I was wondering, was there anything, did these two know each other? Perhaps is what I was wondering when I was doing my research. So anyway, goes on to say Werner von Braun, he lived from 1912 to 1977. He was a rocket scientist focused on rocketry, spaceflight, and crewed missions to Mars. Okay, his book is entirely about technical plans for Mars expedition, spacecraft, orbital mechanics, and life support systems. All right, so anyway, with that all being said, enough about him. Let's talk about somebody who's closely related to Trump. Okay, and this does have something to do with Nikola Tesla. That's why I just mentioned him. Okay, so let's get into it. Because here's the thing. Dr. John J. Trump. Let me just pull up his picture. Okay, let me just pull up his picture. Okay, here we go. Now, he doesn't look anything like Trump, in my opinion. Although he too is attractive deficient. I'll say that much. Okay, I'll say that much. Now, hold on. I'm going to share this on the screen. Okay, here we go. Now, that's him. Now, I want you all to pay attention because that's Trump's grandfather, Dr. John G. Trump. He was an engineer at the National Defense Research Committee. Okay. He came with the CIA. Here's the thing. Now I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. Nikola Tesla, he died in a hotel, I do believe. Okay, when he died, he had all of his blueprints with him. Okay, all of the blueprints to his projects and the things that he was even still trying to work on and all of that. But guess who came and confiscated it? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Trump's grandfather, Dr. John G. Trump. And when he came as an engineer at the National Defense Research Committee, he brought the CIA with him and they confiscated all of Tesla's blueprints. Okay, he reviewed the documents and then deemed them only as speculative and not workable at the time. Now, we know that's a lie and BS. Nikola Tesla is the one who invented a carburetor that ran on water. Okay, this man was very innovative. So I doubt that is true. But here's the thing. You know, hearing this stuff about Elon and Trump, and Barron Trump and these books that have been written, what do you all think about that? Do you all think that it's just a coincidence? What do you all think about that? Seriously, I want to know. Do you all think it's just a coincidence that these books about Elon, Trump, and Barron Trump, and talking about the same things going on right now? What do y'all make of this? How do you think this happened? What do y'all think could have made this occur? Could it have been like Nostradamus? He predicted this stuff and wrote about it. How could this happen? How could this happen? I have several questions. Okay, one who cares says Nautica. No coincidence, not. Exactly. So how do y'all think this happened? I'm going to tell y'all something that's going to sound crazy. Okay? Reggie said they planned this. Well, here's the thing. Did they plan this? Or did the person who wrote those books, the people who wrote those books, now either they were prophetic and could see into the future, or they were time travelers and traveled into the future. Okay, it's got to be one or the other as far as I'm concerned. Now, that might sound crazy, but I'll tell you this. They have something called the 1995 incident. You can look this up. Following a laboratory fire, it was rumored that Nikola Tesla was nearly electrocuted by high voltage equipment, which he allegedly claimed allowed him to travel between different time and space coordinates, allowing him to perceive the past, the present, and the future all simultaneously. And if you haven't read a book called The Philadelphia Experiment, you should, because it talks about the same type of stuff, time travel. Okay? Time travel. I want y'all to pay attention. And by the way, Trump's paternal grandfather, oh, I'm sorry, he wasn't Trump's grandfather. He was actually Trump's uncle. Okay? John G. Trump, yes, he was Trump's paternal uncle. I keep saying grandfather. He was his paternal uncle, and he was a renowned electrical engineer, all that. We already know about all of that. But so You know what? Now that I think about it, this is the uncle that Trump was talking about when they asked that fool something. They asked him something, and MIT, remember? And he said he had close ties to MIT. Yeah, that's because his uncle was a professor there. Okay, John G. Trump. He was a professor at MIT. Okay, Trump, sit down somewhere. I find it all so interesting. But here's another thing I find interesting. Now, this could be a coincidence. I don't know. But here's the thing. In that book, The Last President, I want y'all to pay close attention. In that book, The Last President, the president didn't live in a White House. He didn't live at the White House. He actually lived on Fifth Avenue in New York, which I find interesting, seeing as how Donald Trump has lived at Fifth Avenue in New York for decades. Okay, he notably has resided at a 3-story penthouse at the top of Trump Towers, and the address is 725 Fifth Avenue. And this has been since its completion in 1983. Before that, he lived in his apartment on 800 Fifth Avenue, according to reports. Okay, so I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention. This is all very interesting, by the way. And another thing I'll say is this. What's also interesting is the fact that, you know, Elon has his company, SpaceX, right? And he's got Tesla. All this came from Nikola Tesla, okay? And then the fact that the founder of NASA, the co-founder of NASA, or no, the founder of NASA, wrote a book using Elon's name talking about space exploration, specifically going to Mars. And Elon has absolutely talked about that. The book, The Last President, talking about all the nefarious things that's actually happening right now with Trump in office. It all is adding up. But here's something that I also thought was interesting. So Elon's got SpaceX, okay? And Trump lives on Fifth Avenue when he's not at the White House. That's one of his residences, at least. And Fifth Avenue is just about a 10-minute walk from Times Square. Okay, so I want y'all to think about that. These devils, okay, these devils are linked through space and time. Okay, they're linked through space and time. I want y'all to pay attention. This is all so nefarious. This is all so nefarious at the end of the day. I'm about to be out of here. Okay, I'm about to be out of here. One thing I will say before I go is the fact that Trump's pick, Matt Gaetz, well, it's some bad news about him. Let's get into it. Before I go, I'm going to show you all a couple of more receipts because I have so many I can't keep up. Seriously. Okay, now here we go. Let's listen to this.
We have another bombshell. We now know the background of the 17-year-old girl who testified that she had sex with Matt Gaetz, a former Florida congressman, former pick of Donald Trump's to be the next Attorney General of the United States. The New York Times is now reporting that this young girl, 17 years old, was living in and out of homeless shelters. She was working at a McDonald's. She had just finished her junior year in high school, and she had been trying to save up money to get braces to help fix her teeth. And she testified in Congress that she had sex with Matt Gaetz when she was 17 years old, twice. In exchange, she was paid $400. She also testified that she saw Matt Gaetz use cocaine at a party. Now, Gaetz told the New York Times that he denies all of this, that it never happened. He never had sex with the young girl. But this is another bombshell story, and I encourage you to go to the New York Times and read it all. Spread the word. I'll have more updates soon, so follow along for all.
Okay, and let me tell you all something. Now, they're trying to charge this young man. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, they're now trying to charge him about a report that he did. He was quoting what somebody else said, and they're saying that he was trying to incite violence or something like that. Let me just tell you all, content creators are being targeted, okay, for exposing these things and talking about these things at the end of the day. All right, I want y'all to pay attention. I don't think they're going to bother me so much because I'm already shadow banned. So they know that my reach is only going to go so far. But with people that have these wide reaches, honey, they're going to probably be coming after them. Okay, please pay attention. It's all nefarious at the end of the day. But also, as I told you all the other day, I told you all that ICE isn't human. Okay, at the end of the day, these devils are not human. Trump and Elon, they're not human. Okay, y'all need to pay attention. Bill Gates, not human. Okay, these people are just not. Y'all think they are. And you think that I'm just being, you probably think that I don't mean this literally. No, I do. I do mean it literally. They're not human, in my opinion. Now, but here's the thing. This man says the same thing.
What are you, beautiful people, going to do when you realize that the people in charge are not even human? Open your eyes.
Okay? These people are not human. All right? At all. At all. Okay? Y'all need to go and look up David Icke alien agenda, or I'm sorry, reptilian agenda. Speaking of that, hold on. I almost forgot something that I said I was going to show you all. Let me go ahead and pull that up, and then I'm definitely out of here. Here it is. Let's look at John Podesta's emails before I roll out. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. I told y'all I still got these old receipts from years ago. All right, let's get into it. All right, here they go. The nefarious walnut sauce emails. So, WikiLeaks series on deals involving Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta. Okay, Mr. Podesta is a longtime associate of the Clintons and was President Bill Clinton's chief of staff from 1998 until 2001. Mr. Podesta also owns the Podesta Group with his brother Tony, a major lobbying firm, and is the chair of the Center of American Progress, a Washington, D.C. based think tank. Okay, so let's go to it. Can you send me the walnut sauce recipe? Let's start there. Let's start there. Okay, can you send me the walnut sauce recipe? Now, I want you all to pay attention because those of you that were following me from day one, I already told you what the walnut sauce is. Okay, they're talking in code. I just want you all to know how low down these devils are. Here's the response. Reference to walnut saucing. Walnut growing Northern California surely knows and celebrates walnut pasta sauce. This is the question they're asking. Okay, walnut pasta sauce. Actually, what surprises me is that we haven't already served it to you. On April the 11th of 2015 at 3:51 p.m., John Podesta sent this email. This is him speaking, saying it's an amazing Ligurian dish made with crushed walnuts made into a paste. So stop being so California. And then she says, hey, John, we know you're a true master of cuisine, and we have appreciated that for years. But walnut sauce for pasta? Mary, please tell us the straight story. Was the sauce actually very tasty? Love to all the Podestas from the Steyers. Cheers, Jim. Now, they're asking about this walnut sauce, right? Let me show y'all something. Let me just show you all something so you'll know what they're talking about without me saying it. Without me saying it, okay? Because I can't say certain things. So without me telling you what the walnut sauce is, I'm just going to show you a picture. All right, let me just pull up this picture real quick. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go. This will do. I'm going to stop the share for just a second. This is what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about. You see that little thing right there? You see how your brain, look at your brain. You see how the brain looks like a walnut? You see how the brain looks like a walnut? You see this right here? They take that and they make it into a sauce. They call it walnut sauce because it comes from the brain, and the brain looks like a walnut. Okay, please pay attention. They're not slick. They're not slick. Okay, you see how I figured out the code in that girl's diary that was in the Epstein files, how I figured that out. Okay, I figured out exactly what they were talking about. Now, here they go again with more walnut sauce talk. Hey, John, we know you're a true master of cuisine, and we have appreciated for years. Appreciate that for years. Okay, this is the same one I already read. Hold on. I already read that one. I didn't mean to take it off the screen. Let me pull this back up, beloveds. Hold on. Now, let's see what this one is about. Plug in. Deronda said everything slick don't slide. Well, you got that right, beloved. Okay, that's an absolute fact. Let me see. Here's another one. Is this the same thing? Hold on. Hi, John. I completely understand why dinner at your home did not include someone like me, who's a known quantity to Clinton campaign veterans. Okay, but I wanted to make an appeal for an early opportunity to get myself and the Daily Beast political editor, Jackie Kunanich, or whatever that name is, on your radar. So we can write and report knowledgeably. There's a long campaign ahead, and I'd like to establish a line of communication. Is there an assistant I should go through? I look forward to working with you and maybe getting some of that pasta and walnut sauce dish. All best, Eleanor. Now, y'all should be asking yourselves, why in the hell is all of these people talking about this darn walnut sauce? Why are these people emailing this man about walnut sauce? Okay, I want y'all to think about this. So is he the only one that has it? Because darn. Is he the only one capable of making it? They can't order from a restaurant. They can't make it themselves. Why are all these people emailing this man about this walnut sauce for the pasta? Why is everybody emailing him? Okay, that's what you should ask yourselves. Well, I think we all know why. Okay, Queen, this is demonic shite, not good for your pure energy. Oh, it's okay, beloved. I'm protected by the Most High. And here's the thing, I do a spiritual cleanse nightly, okay? And I burn sage daily. So I'm fine. Okay, the devils and demons, honey, they can't disrupt my spirit. That's what they can't do. And they've been trying for decades, trust me. Okay, trust me, because I have spiritual gifts. And when you are a person, those of you who have spiritual gifts, you know this. When you are a person with spiritual gifts, honey, you often come under psychic attack. That's what it's called. Okay, I was given a book by a psychic, or I'll call her a prophet, because psychics are the ones that charge money and all that stuff, and they have the little, have the little boots and all that. But this prophetic woman that I met years ago at a metaphysics store, she basically, when I was sharing with her, because she walked right up to me and said, "Oh, you're prophetic, you're a psychic." She said, "I know, because I am too." She recognized me right away. And that's the thing. I can recognize these people too sometimes when I see them. But the bottom line is, I was telling her some of my experiences with malevolent entities attacking me, when I'm in my, not in the spiritual realm, but when I'm in my sleep. Okay. And sometimes your body, when I'm in the astral plane, like that movie Insidious, okay, it's like I can remote view, I can astral travel. So I have these demonic entities trying to attack me all the time. At least I used to. But the bottom line is, I know how to protect myself. Okay. She gave me a book by a prophet called Dion Fortune. Actually, they called her a psychic back then, but her name was Dion Fortune. It was written in 1938, if I'm not mistaken, or 1933. But in this book, it tells you how to protect yourself from psychic attacks when you're spiritually gifted. And so I've had that book ever since. So, honey, I'm covered. That's why I can go in on these demons and devils. I don't worry about them, and I don't fear them. Okay, because I know that the Most High God has all power and control. And as long as I stand by the side of the Most High and not the devil and his minions, honey, I'm just fine. Okay, and so are you. All right, so are you. at the end of the day. So with that all being said, there was one more thing I wanted to show you all before I roll out of here. Let me just pull this up real quick. Hold on. Here it is right here. Hold on, beloveds. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go.
I just found some more insane emails in the Epstein files. And once again, I'm asking, why is this redacted? Donald Trump, his FBI, his Department of Justice are protecting bad men who did bad things with Epstein. This is an email that was sent from somebody, we don't know who, to Epstein back in 2013. It says, new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 9 years old. What? Why is their name redacted? Why don't we know who's saying this? Why haven't they charged this person? You know, Trump and his team have said there's no evidence that Epstein did anything wrong with anybody else. We're looking at the evidence. It's right in front of our faces. I also talked about this email yesterday, 2014, from somebody, again, the name is redacted, to Epstein. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. They're saying the crimes. They're saying it out loud that they're doing it. And Trump's DOJ doesn't have any other evidence of other people doing bad things. Why are these names redacted? In my view, the only explanation is that Donald Trump and the people around him are protecting the rich, powerful men who committed crimes alongside Epstein. Once again, they are saying it in text, and they're not doing anything about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what they're doing. And here's the thing, beloveds. Trump knows that if he loses, if they lose the midterms, all hell's going to break loose. Okay, all hell's going to break loose. He'll be impeached. Okay, and when Trump gets impeached, if he does, all of these minions of his, they're all going down. He can't protect them forever. Okay, and if and when the Democrats regain control, they're going to be screwed and they know it. So what are they doing? They're desperate. They're doing everything in their power to stop the midterms or to cheat so that they win. That's why he wants to naturalize elections. Okay? That's why he's doing all of these nefarious things. Talking about the government, the federal government needs to be in charge of elections. Why? Why would the federal government ever need to be in charge of elections? Okay, make that make sense. All of the evidence is out here and they're still trying to lie. They're saying that they don't have evidence to prosecute anyone else, but some of those people who are named and accused of nefarious things are walking around free. And they keep saying that, oh, because their names were mentioned, they didn't do anything nefarious. There's no proving. These witnesses have absolutely said they did nefarious things. People have been murdered. People have been taken to Sodom and Gomorrah. People have been tortured. They talk about cannibalism. Okay? That's what they talk about. They talk about taking the lives of children, even infants. But nobody's going to jail. Nobody's going to see a day in court. I want y'all to think about this. Because if you ask me, America's not mad enough. America should be infuriated about this stuff. America should be infuriated, but you know what? They're not. At least MAGA isn't. Because let me show you all this. I forgot to show you all this. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm really out of here. Okay? But here's the thing. They're not upset at all. MAGA are some low down, dirty, no good devils, just like their master Trump. And that includes, but not limited to, Nicki MAGA Minaj. Okay? Nicki MAGA Minaj. Because anybody supporting this foolishness is nothing but a devil. Okay, please pay attention.
Use words.
Oh, hold on. That's the wrong video, beloveds. Hold on, wrong video. I want you all to see what this MAGA idiot had on. Hold on. I'm sorry, my phone keeps ringing. That's why I have to get off of here. Everybody's blowing me up, beloveds. Okay, so here we go. Now look at this fool right here. And he's loud and proud with it too, looking so stupid. Look at his shirt. It says, I don't care if Trump is a PDF file. Well, I'm glad you don't care because that's exactly what he more than likely is.
We know you don't care. After all, you voted for a 34-time convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, and a convicted fraud.
Okay? Exactly. That's it, and that's all. Okay, please pay attention. With that all being said, listen, I'm out of here, beloveds. I'll be back to do it all over again in the morning. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this night. Okay, until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got